Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. If this is your first visit, welcome here. And I just wanted to bring you along with me today. Today is Monday, August 16th, and today I'm going to be making two things. I'm going to be making a carrot loaf, and I'm also going to be making carrot muffins. Now, they're two separate recipes. I know sometimes if you make a carrot loaf or any type of loaf, sometimes you can transfer that and just put it into muffin tins instead. But there is a carrot muffin recipe in this cookbook as well that is a little bit different than the carrot loaf recipe. So I'm going to be making both. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a double recipe of this, so 2 loaves, and then hopefully while this recipe's in the oven, hopefully I can switch over and make my carrot muffins as well. And that I'll make a single batch of. Because I believe that recipe says it actually makes 36 muffins or 3 dozen. So I think a single batch of that will be more than enough. But for this, I'm going to make 2 loaves. And again, I'm using one of my favorite series, the company's Coming Cookbook. This one's the Muffins and More. It's one of my favorite series. Now, what we need, I haven't brought the flour over yet, but I need flour. I'm going to need, I haven't tugged the cooking oil out yet either, but I do need that. We need some sugar. It looks like, I think we need sugar. Yes, there's sugar in that recipe. I was going to say sugar, carrots, walnuts. Although I imagine the walnuts are probably optional, but I'll do that. Some eggs, some ground cloves, baking powder, cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, baking soda, and of course the flour that I haven't yet taken out and the oil I haven't yet taken out. So let me get started. I've got the stand mixer set up to my right here, and let me just get you set up on the tripod and I'll get started with my wet ingredients. I've already measured out my grated carrot. I've already done that, and I've also set aside a cup of grated carrot that I need for the carrot muffin recipe as well. So that's set off to the side. Hopefully once I get these in the oven, I can get going right away on the muffins while the loaves cook. But let me get you set up on the tripod and we'll get going. Okay. So it says, first up, we need to beat the oil, eggs, and sugar together until blended, and then stir in the carrots. So I'm going to start with the oil. For a single batch, it's a ½ cup of oil, but I'm doing a double, so I'm doing 1 cup. I already have my 1 cup glass measuring cup in use, so I'm just going to use a 2 cup one, because that has my grated carrot for the carrot muffins already in it. So I'm just going to use one of my other cups. I need to just go to a 1 cup mark on this. I believe I should have enough oil for both recipes. I don't see why not, although I will need to get more probably after this. Okay, that is 1 cup. And then it's going to be 4 eggs because a single recipe is 2, so we're doubling. And again, part of why I'm doubling everything is 1 for us to eat. Well, although we have a couple of loaves on the go right now, I may just freeze both of these. We'll see, especially because some of the muffins will be staying out to eat. But tomorrow is the day that I'm doing my fire hall delivery, and so I'm trying to make enough to have for that as well as some for us to eat at home. Okay, so we're going to do 4 eggs instead of 2. Pop these in the cup for right now. That shell is coming out in pieces, but I don't think we got any little pieces in there. I think we're good. That carton is empty. I usually buy the eggs in flats of 2½ dozen, either from my store or from Superstore, depending on if my store has them on sale or not. And then I've kept some empty egg cartons, some 12-pack and 18-pack egg cartons, and I just transfer them from the flats into the empty cartons and store them in my fridge that way. I feel like they take up less room in the fridge that way, just stacking cartons as opposed to trying to make room for that big flat to lay somewhere. Okay, so the eggs are in, and then a cup of sugar, so that means I'm going to need 2 cups. I gotta get a measuring cup. I think that might be in my dishwasher actually. No, maybe not. I think we already ran that load. I think all my measuring cups are back in the cupboard. Okay, so, oops. This bag of sugar is almost done. Probably have to start my other one soon. I've been buying the big 10 kilogram bags of sugar because, well, I always buy the big 10 kilograms of bags of all-purpose flour too, but I've been buying the big bags of sugar, partly because I do a lot of baking, but also because in the summer I do a lot of jam making, and these batches of jam take anywhere from 6 to 7 cups of sugar, so it takes a lot. And with me making 9, 10, 11 different flavors of jam each summer, usually, I just put some sugar on. I go through the jam, or the sugar really quickly, so. Okay, I'm a little off. I think that one's pretty good. Cricket's out of his cage. He's talking in the next room, actually. I don't know if he'll fly in here and talk. He might. If he's in here, he's usually just chirping and making noise, but he's actually saying words in the next room right now. I don't often get him on camera. Well, I do sometimes get him on camera saying words. It depends. I don't know if I've gotten them one of my YouTube videos saying things, so. Okay, so that is that for the sugar. So we're going to mix these together until blended, then we're going to add the carrots. Recipe called for 1 cup of carrots, finely grated, but I did 2 cups because I'm doing 2 loaves. That last little bit in there. Most of it. I know it says to stir it in, but that's fine. We'll just use the blender. Just a little bit of sugar off the counter. I hate it when it gets on the floor, and I think some of it a little bit did. Okay, now it is saying in a separate bowl mix all remaining ingredients to combine. So that would be the dry ingredients. Now I haven't done the walnuts yet, but that's the only thing that'll take any great amount of time. So let me get another bowl. Oh, we're down here. Won't have to do too terribly much rinsing bowl. Well, that's sturdy now, but I do have to wipe up. I do have some sugar on the floor that I'm stepping in, and not much drives me crazier in this life than sugar on the floor and stepping in, especially with bare feet and then tracking it through the house. I don't know if I can see it properly because I don't have my glasses on, but oh, there it is. But I can feel it, and it's going to bug me, so I'm going to take a second to get this cleaned up. Sugar is just one of those things, once it gets on your feet and on your socks and stuff, it just goes everywhere. Okay, try this again. We're going to take a different knife to level off the flour because that one hit the floor. Okay, so I still feel like there's sugar over here. Well, that's as much as I can do for right now. 1 3/4 cups of flour. Our knife out. So 1. And then I've got a 3/4 cup measuring cup, so I'll do 2 of those. Quarter. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Now, baking powder, we need 2 teaspoons, so we actually need 4 teaspoons. So, you're probably not going to hear Cricket talking because he's in the next room, but he's talking up a storm right now. 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And then half a teaspoon of baking soda, so that is 1 teaspoon because we're doubling. Okay, there's that. Now we need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, or 2 because we're doubling, so 2 teaspoons of that. Maybe a little bit more heaping than a regular teaspoon, but for cinnamon I don't mind if it's a little bit more because it's such a good, you know, you want that spice in there, that flavor. It's hard to level that off anyway. Okay, so nutmeg. Oh, okay, this is gonna be a tricky one. Nutmeg is 3/4 teaspoon, so we're gonna need 1 1/2. So I'll just use my 1 teaspoon measuring spoon, and then I also have 1/2 teaspoon I've used. So yeah, let me see, let me make sure I'm reading the right line. Yes, nutmeg is 3/4. So in this case, it's going to be 1 1/2. Oh, that teaspoon is not reaching in there properly. So maybe use that one, maybe? No, I wasn't well either. Okay, so where is my 1/2 teaspoon? I'll just do that 3 times. The other one is just a little too wide for that. So we'll do 1/2, 1, and 1 1/2. Okay, now for cloves, 1/4 teaspoon. So we're going to do 1/2 because we're doubling. Where's my cloves? So I've got my 1/2 teaspoon already. That will work well. That also is struggling to fit a little bit, but that's okay. Completely full, so I'm just going to get a couple more greens on the spoon here. There we go, just a smidge. Okay, now, and ginger is 1/4 teaspoon, so again 1/2 because we are doubling. And Cricket has joined me in the kitchen now. You can hear him behind me. Okay, so that is all the dry ingredients except for, hi Cricket. I don't know if you can see you on camera or not. Now I need to get my, he's fine in here, it's okay. He's not hurting anything. 1/2 cup of walnuts chopped, so we'll see, that's going to be 1 cup because I'm doubling. Here's the dry ingredients so far. That's how it all looks. Just gotta get my nut grinder. I'm gonna put the spoon here first and blend this. And actually I should probably be preheating the oven in the background. Which means remembering to take my frying pans out of the oven because they get forgotten about sometimes. Okay, so where are we at here? You know, it's a hot day here, so actually heating up the house probably isn't the smartest thing I could be doing. But I've got a deadline of baking for tomorrow, so it's a self-imposed deadline. It's something I want to do, but nonetheless. Okay, so I'm going to preheat the oven to 350. There we go. Now I'm going to get my nut grinder and work on these walnuts. It didn't take me too long to grind a cup of them. The nut grinder, which I showed you in a previous video, is very handy. Yes, Peekaboo. He's going to talk for you guys. He's off camera. He's off to the side behind me. But he's going to talk apparently a little bit. Peekaboo. You say pretty bird? Maybe that was a one-off and that's all he'll say. I don't know. So yeah, it's called for 1/2 cup for a single batch. But I'm doing 2. And I lost a walnut. So we will do a cup. Or close to it at least. I don't even know where you can get another one of these grinders for nuts, so if this thing ever breaks or dies on me, I don't know what I'll do. Obviously, I just gotta go back to cutting them with a knife at that point, but this is so convenient, I really hope this doesn't die on me at any point. Okay. And then once I get this all in a bowl, I'll just add this to my wet ingredients and grease my pans, and as soon as the oven's preheated, they're ready to go. Now, in theory, I should start right onto the carrot muffins at that point, but we'll see. I might want to be sitting down and taking a breather, but I should continue on and just get it done. I don't know that I'll do any other baking today necessarily. I could, but I think Cricket's going to wind up being the star of the show today, not me. You can't see him, but he's on the white pantry cupboard behind me just chattering away, saying, pretty bird. Peekaboo. 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 And I lost another walnut. I could just do the side 5-second rule, but you know what? I'll probably just give it to one of the birds later to eat. Yes, pretty bird. You are pretty bird. You're trying to be a YouTube star. Give me a kiss? Yeah, okay. Give me a kiss? Good boy. Give me a kiss? Give me a kiss? He's saying give me a kiss, and then sometimes he'll make a kissy sound and say good boy after. Peekaboo, pretty bird. Hello, baby. This has ceased to be a baking video and has now become a video of my bird, who you can't see, but you can probably hear him pretty clearly. He's a pretty good talker. Peekaboo. Pretty bird. Give me a kiss? Okay. That is pretty close to 1 cup. I guess I could do just a little bit more to make sure it's a full cup. Why not? Won't take much. Top it up a little bit. Why do I have a feeling that might be more than a cup? That's fine. Not the end of the world if it is. I don't think that the carrot muffins call for nuts. So after this, the only thing I'll make, I probably won't do my delivery till tomorrow afternoon, so I might make some cookies tomorrow morning. Some chocolate chip cookies or something. Just so that there's a cookie of some variety in there. When I do Christmas, I usually do 5 or 6 different kinds of cookies. There's a bunch of things in there. And brownies and all those good things. Cricket is determined to steal the show, guys. Some videos have crying babies. I have talking parrots. I guess there are worse sounds you could be listening to. Okay, I got a little over a cup there. It was a cup and just like a smidge more, but nothing like, it's like a cup and like a few grains more. So, okay. Alright, so that is all the dry ingredients. Peekaboo yourself, buddy. Pretty bird. Hey, Cricket, this is my video, not yours. What are you doing? Okay, so we are going to add these to the wet ingredients and I'm going to try and ignore my ring neck because he's being silly. Yeah. Peekaboo. Peekaboo. Okay, we'll add some and then we'll mix it. Oh, I got a little bit on the counter. Of course, that's the one thing. This is why I'm not a fan. I know it always says to do the dry ingredients in a separate bowl, and sometimes I like to take a shortcut and just do them all in the mixing bowl in one, because then it's a pain. Not only am I dirtying a second bowl, but it's a pain pouring it into the wet ingredients. I usually get some on the counter. Peekaboo! Come here, you. Come here. Step up. Oh, you don't want to step up. Okay, fine. Now he's mad. Apparently I offended him. Some more in here. Probably in 2 or 3 bowls it should all be in. Hey, I didn't get much on the counter that time. A little bit, but not much. All just dry ingredients. Anyway, the counter was clean before I started, so we're good. Yes, pretty bird. And I can see there's some on the side of the bowl, so I'll probably take the spatula and wipe it down. Oh, that's going to be in my way. It's too close to the side of the bowl. Cricket. Are you going to do this the entire video? Yeah, I think you are, aren't you? Are you going to be a YouTube star? Okay. That's coming out a bit. I put it on too fast. Too high to speed. Now I have some flour on the floor. Lovely. Well, baking is a messy job. It's going to happen. I got a little too eager there and turned the mixer on too high. Okay, now. Okay. Now, let this drip off of the beater. Give me a kiss. And I feel like I've stepped in sugar and I'm ready. I know I can feel it on my phone. Okay, once I get this off the beater, I'll take the beater off. I can go and rinse the beater and the bowl while I'll rinse the beater. Scrape the stuff off the sides of the bowl, make sure it's blended, grease my pans, pour it in the pans. And then I'll pause you guys once this is in the oven and clean my bowl and my beater and hopefully get started promptly on the muffins without allowing myself to take a big break in between. Although that temptation to sit down and take a break is always there, but then once you sit down, it takes you forever to get back up, at least for me. Yes, hey baby. Pretty bird. Give me a kiss. Yes, one of my parrots has taken over the video. Yes, peekaboo. You have officially, it's like photobomb, but it's like a video instead. You have officially taken over. Yeah, I'll give you a kiss. I'll give you a kiss later. Pretty bird. Hello, baby. I'm sure if you guys can hear him, I'm sure you can probably understand him pretty well. He's pretty clear. Peekaboo. Yes, you're very cute. You're very cute. He doesn't talk for like a week or two, and then all of a sudden he chooses now to go on and on and on and on. And when he gets in this mood, he'll talk for like an hour or two, which is fine. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. What are you doing? Okay, this is pretty good. It's a fairly thick batter too, so it should be good. Okay, time to spray. And again, I use pan spray to grease my Loaf pans. I know you can use butter, lard, or oil. I tend to prefer to just use cooking spray. I'm going to strangle my bird. No, actually I'm not. He's cute. But it's getting harder to talk over him. Peekaboo, you're goofy. I would never strangle my bird. Don't anybody, animal rights activists, come after me for that comment. It's kind of like when you have toddlers in the house, when they are, you love them dearly and you'd never sell them, but you'd often threaten to sell them, right? So it's like, that would never happen, but he's cute. He actually is really cute. It's just that he's getting louder. I hope that you can hear me louder and clearer than him, but we'll see. Okay, let me get my cooking spray. You are being a goof. You are a goofy bird. And they can't even see you. Once I get this in the oven, I'll put you on camera for a second since you're so all about your fame and stardom here. Okay, so again, I like to use a pan cooking spray. You can oil the pans or put margarine or even lard. Whatever works for you, whatever you prefer, so long as it's greased well enough so it doesn't stick when you go to pop them out of the pan. That's the goal. And this usually works quite well. I never have an issue getting them out. It's the odd recipe sometimes I have, but it depends on what's in the recipe. The pan cooking spray always does a good job, I find. You are a silly bird. My stomach is growling, so maybe once I get these in the oven, I might take a break and maybe make a tuna sandwich or something and sit down and then come back and do my muffin batter. We shall see. I should just get it done and be done with it. Hi. Peekaboo. I might as well just let you do all the talking because you're determined to do that, so I'm just focusing on getting these fairly evenly distributed. Give me a kiss. That's a lot of kissy sounds, Cricket. That's new. Cricket. This is new, guys. I'm not used to him doing all that. But I'm going to send you packing out of the kitchen in a minute here, bird. Now he's doing a little less talking and more squawking. And then he tells himself, good boy. Alrighty. I'm sure my daughter's sitting in the next room listening to this, silently laughing at how he's taken over. She popped her head in here earlier trying to rescue me and take him away. And I'm like, oh, he's fine. Let him be. And he's just progressively gotten louder and louder and louder. So, yeah. And the other ones are squawking in the next room, but that's fine. They're at least muffled because they're in another room. But Cricket, you know you have an audience, don't you? Hello, baby. I'm just trying to get these loaf pans fairly even as much as I can, given that these are the same glass loaf pans I've used in the last several videos I've made. And again, they're not completely the same size. One is slightly bigger than the other. I'm losing this battle, aren't I? I'm hoping that you guys still think this is a worthwhile video when you watch it, because I am losing this battle. Mind you, with a bird, technically if he's being ridiculous, you can put him in his cage, whereas with a toddler, you can't do that. Unless you consider like a playpen or something to be their cage. But that means if I do that, that means having to pause the video, and I don't want to do that. So it's like, no, let's just let him do his thing. Good boy. Yes, you're a good boy. And probably when I come back to do the muffins, he'll either be completely silent or else absent from the room, or else there'll be another bird in here carrying on, taking over where he left off. I need to stick on my fingers, but that's fine. Cricket, you're rattling me. I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing and you're rattling me, bird. I can't say that I can't recall if I've made this particular recipe before, but it's just a carrot loaf. You can't really mess a carrot loaf up. I mean, you can, but this to me seems as pretty standard as making a banana loaf. So I don't know if I've used this particular recipe or not. It's been a long time since I've made carrot muffins or a carrot loaf, but it's a pretty standard recipe. I don't think most carrot loaf recipes out there will probably be pretty similar to this, so it should be pretty straightforward across the board. And that beeping is not Cricket. That is the oven saying it's preheated, which is good because these are just about full and just about ready to go in the oven. You're a pretty bird. Okay. A little bit on the counter there. I don't want to put that anywhere. I'm going to wash my fingers off here. I've got stuff on my hand, which means it's now on the tap. But that's okay. Baking is a messy job, right? I'm not going to have to wash this beater and the bowl out anyway. And probably the spatula, so I'll probably need that next go. Well, no, I shouldn't need the spatula. Well, maybe I will. I might need it next go round for the muffins a little bit. Yes, peekaboo. I'm just going to run some water so that actually soaks. And I'm just going to set all these loaf pans down. So we got one. I'll get that right down in the corner there a little bit. And that is fine. You can kind of see a little bit of the fat or a little bit of the stuff in the pan spray around the edges, but that's fine. It'll cook. It'll all be cooked in once it's baking. It'll be fine. It looks a little bit funny right now like that, but it'll be fine. Okay. Just screw that down. Okay. Let that bowl rinse off and the beater. The beater I'll wash a little bit separately. Okay, let me show you what we got here. Got 2 carrot loaves ready to go in the oven. And again, you can see where some of the pan spray is in the corners. Looks funny. Probably like, oh, it looks greasy, whatever. But that's just, you know, it's just like if you would have put a little bit extra oil or whatever. Same thing. That's all it is the grease from that. Let me pop them in the oven. Put these in the oven. It says to bake them for about 1 hour. or until an inserted toothpick comes out clean. So I'm going to put them in the timer on for an hour. And then I will check them at that point. And this one is the slightly bigger pan of the two, so this one usually takes a little bit longer, but we will check after 1 hour. So I'm going to take a little break here. I'm going to set the timer for an hour. Take a short break, wash my pan and my beater, and then I'll come back to make the muffin batter. But in the meantime, this is who has been doing all the talking. Hi. Hello. Now you're going to clam up, aren't you? He wants me to turn the camera around on him so he can see himself, because then he gets very excited. But that is Cricket. That is our Indian ringneck. That is the guy who's making all the sounds and is basically taken over my YouTube video for the day. He's going to fly to me, I think. So I will wash out my dishes over there, my bowl and my beater. Timer is on for an hour and we'll check it at that point. I'm going to take a short break and then I'll bring you back when I start my muffin batter here in a little bit. Okay, now we are moving on to the carrot muffins. The recipe actually says that it's carrot bran muffins, but I don't have bran. And the recipe does say that you can omit the bran and change the flour to 2 cups if you don't have bran. So instead of 1.5 cups of flour, I'm going to be doing 2 cups. And I am only going to do a single batch because it does say it yields 3 dozen muffins. I don't need to make a 6 dozen batch of muffins. So I need my flour, and instead of granulated sugar, I need brown sugar this time, baking powder, baking soda, salt, cinnamon. The previous recipe did not take salt. I don't recall seeing that. There's lots of other spices in it. Then eggs, cooking oil, grated carrot, and a cup of crushed pineapple and juice. So I've got my baking powder, baking soda, my brown sugar, my cinnamon. That's going to be too much pineapple, but that's fine. We'll just measure out a cup. And eggs and oil. I believe it said oil. Yes, cooking oil. And then just my flour, which is down on the floor beside me. So let me get you set up here. We're going to get started. Oh, and then my carrot. I have a cup of carrot measured out already that I grated. I grated all of it when I grated the carrots I needed for the loaves. Let me just try and get this set up as best I can. And Cricket has arrived. He's back in the kitchen. I might send him packing though because he's a little bit much. Just 1 second. Okay, so we've now brought out the carrot. I just sent Cricket out of the kitchen because he arrived and he's still in fine voice. Maybe you guys find him amusing, and he is, but he's loud today. Okay, so it says to do the dry ingredients first in a bowl, so I'm going to do that. So I need 1.5 cups of flour. I have my 1 cup already, but I'm going to have to grab a 1/2 cup measuring cup because I don't have. This one I'm probably going to get a clean one because that still has walnut traces in it, which is not a big deal, but... Okay, so 1.5 cups of flour, I believe. This cup does not have a handle on it anymore, but that's fine. It should still be okay. Or, if it gets annoying, I may just get one from a different set. I'm distracted by that bird. Love my birds, but he's distracting me today. Okay, so we got 1 cup. And yeah, I think I'll get a different one because now my hands are covered with flour already. And I know baking's dirty, but I'm just trying to get this done at this point. And he is distracting me even from the next room. Okay, so I need 1/2 cup as well. I'm just trying to see how much of this I can get measured out and done before he comes back. He could go in his cage, but I just don't want to. He's not really being bad, and I don't want to pause this and keep pausing it over and over again and taking the time to do that. Okay, so I need 3/4 cup of brown sugar, which is right here. Don't hold down my flour on the floor, please. You know what? This knife slides in the way. I'm going to put that here, and I have a little more room to put the bowl. This is more like golden yellow sugar than the dark brown sugar, but same difference. I mean, you can use either. For some things, especially when I'm doing my Christmas baking, then I really stick to what is actual brown sugar versus golden yellow sugar. But for a lot of things, like even in my cinnamon buns the other day, I just used this instead of dark brown sugar. It's fine. It's 3/4 cup. And then we have to, okay, oh, I did 1.5 cups of flour. I did. And I'm supposed to do 2 cups because I said I'm omitting the bran, right? It says if you don't have bran, omit the bran and just change flour to 2 cups. I didn't do that, so I only put 1.5 cups of flour. I need to add another half cup. Glad I caught that now rather than later. But as I said, I'm a little distracted by the bird, and there's other stuff going on in the house in the background. It's fairly quiet, but it's still going on around me. Okay. Okay, so now baking powder. I have to remember that I'm only doing a single batch and not a double in this recipe. So baking powder, 1 teaspoon. Oh, this is baking soda. I told you I'm distracted, and this is not good. Teaspoon of baking powder. It says a teaspoon of baking soda as well, so that would have been fine had I done that. Oh, you guys, I gotta get with the program. I'm distracted by the bird. And a teaspoon as well of cinnamon, and then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So my cinnamon's right here. I'm gonna have to add some more cinnamon to this canister or to this spice jar because it's getting quite low. Okay. And I have my 1/2 teaspoon already, so I just have to go grab my salt. And that'll be it for the dry ingredients. Ah. Teaspoon of salt. Okay, that's it. Now, we'll stir the dry ingredients. Give them a quick stir, and then we'll move on to the wet ingredients in my stand mixer. Now, there'll probably be a few lumps in this brown sugar, but once I get these added to the wet ingredients, and I get the mixer going, the actual beater going instead of a wooden spoon, then that'll all get worked out. There's definitely some lumps in it just from the brown sugar, but the beater from the stand mixer will work that all out. I'm trying to get some of them out with the wooden spoon, but I could probably take the Pampered Chef tool that I have that's for breaking up ground beef and use that to break this up, but that's fine. I'm sure the blender will do, or the mixer will do a good job. Or if I had a pastry blender, that would probably also do it too. But this aside for a minute. Alright, 43 minutes, just shy of that on my timer for the carrot loaves. So now, 2 eggs. 2 eggs and then a 1/2 cup of cooking oil. I keep surprising myself that there's nothing in this bowl, but that's because I haven't started usually you do like your oil and your sugars and stuff, I thought, in here, and then you add your eggs. So this is throwing me off that there's nothing in there. Now what I'll probably do is I'll just take my muffin tins out and grease them off camera, and maybe spoon some of it in off camera, or maybe I'll do the first pan on camera and I'll turn it off just so you don't have to sit and watch the whole thing. Okay, 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of cooking oil, and a cup of grated carrots. So I'm going to put the carrot in here first because I'll free up my measuring cup for the oil. And I'm going to need to add oil to my grocery list because this is getting low. I'm doing a lot of baking lately. Half a cup. I don't know if he's amusing my daughter or what he's doing. But he's talking in a different room now at least. So at least I'm getting a bit of a break from him. But you might still be able to hear him in the background. Okay, there's the oil. And now crushed pineapple and juice. That is a cup. I'm just going to put that one in the sink. And I'll use my 2-cup measuring cup. Just because that one with the oil was so sticky. Can opener. Now sometimes pineapple, sometimes it says to drain it, but this does not. This says a cup of the pineapple and juice, so I guess we won't be draining it. Probably not going to pour it in. I'll just use a spoon to scoop it in here. And that's the last ingredient. So I'll be blending these and then adding my dry ingredients, and then I guess we'll be moving on to spraying down my muffin tins and loading them. this is a 2-cup measuring cup. I am not a fan of pineapple. I don't like to eat straight pineapple. I don't like it on pizza, even though a lot of Canadians do have pineapple on pizza. We do have what's called the Hawaiian here. Not my thing at all. But in baking, in like a carrot cake or a zucchini loaf or anything like that, if it's hidden to me in baking, then it's okay. Because it does, especially with the, like, it does add moisture to a recipe, especially, even if it's undrained, it adds a certain amount of moisture to a recipe, but especially if it's undrained, you've got the juice in there too, so it really does add something that way. But it's just not a fruit that I care for on its own at all. Okay, so I think that's almost at 1 cup. Can you still hear them in the next room on camera? You probably can. Maybe not. I can hear him loud and clear. I don't know how much you guys can hear, but I'm just thankful he's giving me a little reprieve. I like him. I love him. But when I'm trying to film, he's a handful. Okay. And yet, I'm still talking about him. You'd think I'd just be ignoring him. Okay. So let me blend these. And then I guess I will slowly... Oh, it says to beat the eggs in the mixing bowl until frothy, and then add oil, carrots, pineapple, and juice. Well, I didn't do that part. I didn't beat the eggs first, but it'll be okay. I'm going to blend these, and then I guess I will be adding my dry ingredients. Which are on the other counter. Okay. Let's get some of these in here. I know it says this recipe will make 36 muffins, but to me this doesn't look like that big of a batch of batter, but I could be mistaken. It probably will make just that. Probably depends on how full you fill the muffin tins too. At the very least I should get a good 2 dozen if they're large. We'll see, depends how full I fill them. I'm not one to usually use paper muffin liners for my muffin tins. I usually just spray my muffin tins and pour them right in. That does make cleaning the muffin tins a little bit harder, but I let them soak after, once I pull the muffins out, and then I put them in the dishwasher. Now, if this is a recipe, I don't know if I've made this before, but if this is a recipe that really should be in paper muffin tins, then I guess I'll know for next time, because I'll probably have a heck of a time getting them out of the muffin tins, and the batter will be sticky and it'll be hard to clean. I'll learn. But so batter will be lumpy. Probably is a little bit. I probably beat it quite a bit there, but it's still going to be a little bit lumpy. I'll just let that drip off, and I'm going to again take the beater off and take the spatula to the side, and then I will maybe scoop out 1 pan's worth of. Now does this have to, so that's ready to go to what temperature? These have to be baked at 400, but I'm not going to change anything with my oven because I still have 37 minutes for my carrot loaves. At minimum, 37 minutes if they only take an hour, which they usually take well, those I don't know what they take because I haven't made them before. But most loaves, they say an hour, and I find they usually take more like an hour and 10 minutes. So 37 minutes to go if they only take an hour, but probably more like 45 minutes. So at that point, once they come out, then I'll up the temperature on the oven to 400 for these. And I don't know yet what else I will make for tomorrow. I'll probably make a batch of cookies, but I sometimes like to put another kind of muffins in, but I don't know if I'll get around to making another muffin. If I do, I could make banana chocolate chip. Those are very easy, but they, I believe, require oil, and I have to see how much oil I have left. I'm not sure. Because again, with those, I typically do a double batch to get 2 dozen. Well, a single batch of banana chocolate chip gives me 1 dozen. So, okay, this is pretty good. Let me take this beater off. And I'll put it aside. I'll just rinse it again later in case I do end up making something else, because it is only 3 o'clock. I might very well end up making something else yet today because I'm silly. But the problem is, I don't have a plan for supper, and then it's going to be close to supper time, and I'll be up to my elbows in baking, and I won't have come up with an idea of what to do to eat. Okay, so I'm going to spring 1 muffin pan, and I'll get them measured out into there. Well, maybe, let's see, how much time has this been already? When did this stop? Oh no, it didn't stop. I thought it stopped. I couldn't see the timer on the bottom. The time, I thought, oh no, it's only been 12 minutes. That's not too bad. So that's what the batter looks like. I thought that my thing had stopped recording on me. And I thought, there's no way that my phone's full of memory. Can't be. Not yet. Okay, I'm going to grab a muffin tin or 2. And I'll probably start with 2. Here it says 3 dozen, but I don't know. I'm sure it probably depends on how full you fill the muffin tin. I have 3 tins here. I'll take them out. And for the moment I'll grease 2. I'll set this other one aside until I know if I need it or not. I probably will need it at the very least, I'll probably get 2.5 dozen, if not 3. Depends how full I fill these, so we'll see. I haven't made the carrot loaves before or these muffins before, so, but to me it seems pretty straightforward. Carrot muffins, carrot loaves, they don't seem like they'd be hard recipes to make. So there's something in the bottom of this muffin tin. Let me just clean this out. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I had to just, one of the muffin tins, one of the cups looked like there was something in the bottom of it. It probably didn't, it was totally fine, but just was something that probably from last time when I went through the dishwasher, something probably got missed. So I had to quickly wet that and get that cleaned out, so it's all good. I have already pre-greased or pre-sprayed 2 of my muffin tins. And we'll see how much I need. I'm going to scoop this off of here with my 1/2 cup. I'm going to use my 1/2 cup measuring cup to measure stuff out. I'm not going to say that that's going to be a 1/2 cup of batter that goes in each one, but it's just what I use to, just to scoop. I can use a 1/4 cup or a 1/3 cup too. It doesn't matter, but get these measured out. And we'll see. We should at least get the 2 dozen, and we'll go from there. I didn't bother pre-greasing the 3rd one, just in case we don't get a full 3 dozen, or if I get 2.5. If it looks like I'm going to need all 3 dozen, then fine, I'll grease it at that point. But right now I'm just going to start with a scoop in each one. And then if there's extra batter, once I'm done my 2 or 3 pans, then I can top them up. But Cricket is being surprisingly good. He's in the living room. My daughter's keeping him happy. I don't mind that he's in here talking, but that today he was in full voice. And that's fine. But sometimes he goes a week or 2 without talking, and he'll just do his birdie chirps and squawking. But when he gets into talking mode, he won't stop for a good hour or 2. So that's just how he goes. He's a goof. Okay. I don't see how we're getting 3 dozen muffins out of this. I really don't. I would say 2. Unless whoever wrote this, unless they use the paper liners and they only fill them like a little bit full. Maybe these are meant to be small muffins. I don't know. But I don't think I'm getting 3 dozen out of this. I think it'd be more like 2 myself. So I probably could have doubled the recipe and then gotten 4 because I do need some for this delivery tomorrow, but that's fine. For each of the 2 baskets, I'll probably take maybe a 1/2 dozen muffins. Only, not because there are only going to be 6 firefighters there, but just because there'll be other stuff. There'll be the double chocolate zucchini loaf, there'll be the carrot loaf, there'll be the banana coconut loaf, and I believe I have a banana eggnog loaf in the freezer. And I might have a lemon Saskatoon loaf that I made before that's in the freezer. I'm not sure if I do. I'll have to look. But if not, I could make one. Or the question is, do I make that or do I make banana chocolate chip muffins? I don't know. Yeah, I'm only going to get 2 dozen. I can see that right now. This is not, I'm not even going to get 2 dozen. Where did they think this was going to be a 3 dozen batch? I'm getting 1.5 dozen, guys. I'm not getting a full. It's definitely not as big of a batch as the recipe said. Not even close. But that's okay. I'll wipe out the oil out of these other 6 cups. And what I'll do is I will put water in those for when they're in the oven, just so that that part of the pan doesn't get scorched. I'm not going to leave the oil like the cooking spray because that's just not a good idea. But I don't want to leave them empty, so usually if I have some empty muffin tins, I learned somewhere along the way that you should put water in those. That way they don't just like burn dry or scorch or what have you. So now this one needs a little bit more, so I'll top it up. This definitely was not a 3 dozen batch at all. I'm just scraping the bottom of the barrel here to get 1.5. All right, that's okay. 1.5 is still all right. I can put 1/2 dozen in each. I would say I could put 9 in each, but my daughter will probably cry because I know she wants me to leave some carrot muffins for her. But even if I just leave a few out and use the rest of these baskets more, we'll see. I can always make more too, so. I mean, I do have leftover pineapple, so that 1 cup of pineapple wasn't even, oh, well, how much was in there? Yeah, I probably have enough for a second batch in there. It's about half the can, so I could probably make a second batch. I don't know if I want to make a second batch today, or I would like to make something else. But I do have enough in there that I can make a second batch. I have Tuesday and Wednesday off too, so I could easily make another batch. Okay, well, that I think is literally all the batter I'm going to get out of this. I didn't think I was going to get 3 dozen out of it. I was skeptical of that, but unless they're supposed to be mini muffins, but I don't believe so. Okay, now clean the oil or the grease out of the bottom of these cups here. I'm not going to put those in the oven like that. Clean that out. And when the time comes, I'll just put water in that one. In those 6. Yeah, it says yield 36 medium muffins. Well, to me, these would be medium sized. They're not going to be large. But that's fine. Lesson learned. This recipe is also a good one to double, apparently. I could just start over right now, but that involves grating more carrot, and I'm not going to do that right now. Right now, I'm going to just sit down. I've got 26 minutes until, about 26 minutes, give or take, 26 minutes till my timer goes off for the carrot loaves, and then probably another 5 to 10 minutes, depending on if they're not done. And then get these in the oven. So I'm just going to take a break right now. And then if I do bake anything else later, I'll probably do maybe lemon Saskatoon, or else maybe I'll just do banana chocolate chip muffins, and then that'll be enough baking for today. And probably cookies tomorrow morning, and then that will be enough. And then if I want to do more of these muffins for my daughter, then I can do them on one of my next 2 days off. The next couple of days. I do have that 5-pound bag of carrots that I bought at Superstore last week, so I do have carrots in the house. A little bit right there. Yeah, these definitely aren't going to be large muffins either. Like, they're not even full to the brim, so that's okay. All right. So that's where we're at. I've got 1.5 dozen here. I have to clean up my kitchen, obviously. Looks good, but no more batter. So, lesson learned. Next time, if I want to make a big batch of these, double it. So, that's it for right now. I will show you how the carrot loaves turned out when I get them out of the oven. And again, at the end, I'll come back and show you how these turned out when they come out of the oven as well. I'll see you shortly. Okay, I'm back. And up until a few seconds ago, so was Cricket. He was back in here chattering away at me. I'll have to show you in a few minutes, but I did take the carrot loaves out of the oven. They actually, the timer went off after 60 minutes, after 1 hour. And I tested them with a toothpick, and usually I find a lot of loaves and things, especially loaves, need more time, but they actually, the toothpick came out clean on both pans, so I think they're fine. Now the reason I'm re-greasing the second half of the second pan for muffins is because I caved in and decided to make a second batch. Since I only got 18 out of the first batch, I'm going to do another 18. That way I'll get a solid 3 dozen. My daughter likes carrot muffins very much. I mean, we all do here, I think. But if I give away the entire batch tomorrow to the firefighters and don't leave any for her, she'll probably be rather sad. So, and I mean, I just like, you know, I like to have some too. So it's like, okay, we're gonna make a second batch. I already made up the batter for it, so I'm just gonna pour it in here and get these pans in the oven. And the biggest thing that took any amount of time in getting that ready was just grating another cup of carrot. But it's already ready to go. So I think, get this ready. Get these 6 going. I could probably get this first pan in the oven already because I had to change the temperature to 400, and just before I started recording this clip, the oven beeped to tell me that it had preheated to 400, so it's ready. But let's see, let me just get this. I don't know if any in my first pan need to be topped up or not. But because I only got 18 out of the last batch, I don't want to spend so much time topping up the first pan that I wind up being short for the second pan. So my kitchen is now a huge mess, and I don't know if I will make anything more today. Partly because I think if I made the banana chocolate chip muffins, I'm pretty sure they call for oil, and I'm really low on oil now. I'd have to look. I know they take milk too, so at least I believe they do. I have to look and see. The banana bread last week took butter, but I think the muffins take oil. And I don't have any extra, and I don't really want to go to the store just for that. Once I'm in baking mode, I don't want to interrupt it and have to go to the store. I want to get it done. That one, a little bit. This one needs to be topped up. And then we'll move on to get one of them in the oven. One pan in the oven, I mean. And we'll grease pan number 3. Okay. That one down there looks like it could use just a smidge more. Okay. All right. Now it's set to do these at 200. Oops, my knife just fell into the flour. Put one pan in at a time here. I believe that was a knife. Or what was that? Oh, it's my peeler for my carrots. That's okay. Now I've got flour all over my hands from fishing that out. That's all right. So, I set my timer. They're at 400 for 20 to 25 minutes, so I'll just do 20 to start with. Start. Slide this pan down, and then we're going to spray pan number 3. You guys, my kitchen is a huge mess now. Baking is messy though. Cooking's messy, baking's messy. It is rewarding, but it is a mess. I sometimes try and clean as I go, but that did not happen today. We get a double batch of carrot loaves and a double batch of carrot muffins. Yeah, didn't happen. Cleaning as I went did not happen today. Let's see if I can get a full dozen out of this. I should, because I only got half a dozen out of the 6 already, so I should get a full dozen. It might be scraping the bottom of the barrel again, but and that can of pineapple ended up being just enough for the 2 batches. Yeah, again, I obviously didn't do anything wrong the first batch because it looks like I am only going to get 18 out of this batch too. So it's not like I made a mistake the first go around. I did it right. Should be on track to get 18, just 18 though. That's why I didn't need to be spending a lot of time topping up the other pans, because $18 is all I'm getting out of this one. And that, actually getting number 18 out of this one is going to be a little tight. But that's okay. I think we should be okay. It won't be big. Hopefully with the amount of baking powder or baking soda in these, hopefully they'll rise and they'll still be a decent sized muffin. But I tend to like to make muffins that are nice and puffy and big. But these muffin tins are definitely not as full as I would normally do a muffin tin, but that's fine. They'll be okay. Even if they're just an average size muffin, that's fine. They don't have to have a huge poofy muffin top to them. As long as they're cooked through and they taste good, they don't have to be huge. Trying to get whatever last little bit of batter I can out, because these last couple of corners here are a little bit lacking. Literally scraping the bottom here to get any extra, but that's fine. This pan will probably be for ours because it's just the last one. Oh goodness. So yeah, definitely, I'm not sure what size of muffin tin they were thinking when they said 36 muffins for a batch, because that's not right. I got 18, just 18, like an even 18, that is stretching it. You can see I'm having to scrape the last bit out to get a full 18, so. That first pan that I put in, that's probably going to be the main one for the fire hall tomorrow. This one will probably be ours, largely because I am using my fingers to scrape this out, and also because they're going to be smaller. I think these have a little bit less batter than some of them. That one in particular does. I almost feel like taking a spoon and taking a little bit off of another one to top that one up. Or there's some on the outside of this cup that could probably go in too. Oh yes, baking is definitely a messy business, isn't it? But it is worthwhile. Definitely, if you want more than 18 muffins, definitely plan on doubling this recipe. If it was just going to be for my family just to eat at home, 18 muffins would be totally fine. That'd be enough to have in the house for a week to take in our lunches and stuff, and it'd be no problem. But because I am planning on sharing these, and I mean, typically when I'm in baking mode and I'm making a mess in the kitchen, I just do a double batch of everything anyway. That's just how I usually do things. I'm already in baking mode anyway. It really didn't take that much extra time or effort to whip up the second batch. So, okay, wash my hands back under flour all over everything. Okay, so my powder is a mess. So that's where we're at. These two pans still have to be baked. You can see a couple of these are a little bit low, but that's fine. There's baking powder, baking soda, and then they should rise pretty well. That first pan has 13 minutes left on it on the timer of 20. Now the recipe did say 20 to 25, so I only put it on for 20. We'll see how that goes. 13 minutes left of that. And then these are the 2 carrot loaves that I made. So that is that. Pepe, the Quaker parrot, just did a flyby in here, but he didn't stay. But look who's back. He's got a few things to say. So I'm just going to go and sit down and wait for this first pan of muffins to finish in about 13 minutes and get the next two in, and then I'll show you, once everything's all said and done and baked, I will show you how everything turned out. But yeah, my kitchen is a mess now. A very big mess. So that's the next project, is getting this all cleaned up. Never mind baking something else. I got to get this all cleaned up and figure out what's happening for supper because it's 4 o'clock already. I'll show you how everything turned out once everything's out of the oven. So I'll be back in a bit. All right, we are back. The muffins are now all out of the oven. We've got a full 3 dozen of them. And there's the 2 carrot loaves. And we've got 3 dozen carrot muffins over here. Again, there are 2 separate recipes. Like I showed you, the carrot muffins have the pineapple in them, and the carrot loaves do not. Different recipe entirely, so it's not like I just took the loaf recipe and put it in muffin tins. No, they're 2 completely different recipes. But they turned out, everything looks good. I haven't yet tried to take a muffin out of here to see how to make sure they're not sticking to the pan, but they shouldn't be. They should be fairly easy to get out because I did spray them pretty well. Excuse all the birds going crazy in the background. I think it's feeding time at the zoo, I think. But these are cooling, and now it's 5:52, so now I have to figure out a plan for supper. I need to get back on to making weekly meal plans because I am just struggling to keep up. And especially now that September is just around the corner and I'll be working 2 jobs again, I really, really need to get back on track with the meal planning and have a schedule each week. Or at least, if not a set schedule as far as what day something can be made, at least have a plan of like 5 weekday meals that can be rotated, and then, you know, make them on whichever day we so choose. But especially because I do work afternoons and evenings at the grocery store usually. If I'm going to be working, that's usually when I'm there. So that's a whole nother story entirely. I've got to come up with start getting back on the meal planning train again. So that's another separate video, separate conversation. But just wanted to show you how everything turned out. And I've even got my kitchen sort of put back together. Not completely. I've got to put some baking stuff away. I got the dishwasher unloaded and reloaded. Those are the frying pans that go inside the oven, but the oven is still hot on the inside. Plus, if we make something like, say, French fries or chicken strips in the oven's going to be in use for the next while anyway, so there's no point in trying to put those away right now. And I've got a few things over there that need to be put away, like my tripod, my oven mitts and stuff too. But again, I'll be needing my oven mitts if we make some fries or chicken strips or popcorn chicken or whatever for supper. So I've got my kitchen somewhat back under control. Not completely, but it's getting there. House smells good. The house is also very warm right now because of having used the oven. The air conditioner is running non-stop all day today. But that's just how it is. We're in the middle of a heat wave in Manitoba, and we can't really complain about it because before we know it, it'll be freezing cold again. Our winters come early and stay a nice long time usually. So we have to enjoy this heat while it lasts and just be grateful we have air conditioning. Anyway, all that to say, my baking for the day is done, unless I do something else tonight yet, but I don't know. I may just leave it and make cookies in the morning and call it a wrap. But for now, I'm finished. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe if you are new. Give this video a thumbs up down below and leave a comment down below as well. And we will see you in the next video. Hope everybody had a great weekend and that their week is off to a great start. See you next time.